Fortunately, not all of us hear from God, but God is always speaking, and God is always willing to speak to us. There are 10 practical lessons we can learn from Samuel's encounter with God. In 1 Samuel chapter 3, God called Samuel 3 times, but it was until he said he was listening that God delivered the message he wanted to deliver. So the first lesson we learn is that God waits for our willingness, not just our presence. Samuel was in a temple since he was a child. He was serving, he was near the ark of God, but yet God waited for his response. So the lesson we learn is that being around spiritual things isn't the same as being open to God. God speaks when the heart says, I am listening. The second lesson is that revelation begins with invitation. God called Samuel's name 3 times, but the real revelation only came after Samuel said, Speak, Lord. The lesson we learn is that your willingness to hear God activates the depth of what he wants to reveal. Some instructions will remain silent until we ask. Call unto me, and I will show you great and mighty things you do not know. Jeremiah 33, verse 3. The third lesson is that you must shift from serving God to knowing God. Samuel ministered before the Lord, but scripture says he did not yet know the Lord in a personal way. The lesson is that you can be active in ministry, serving, part of the Bible study, part of the feed the need, part of the choir, doing everything. But until we shift to an intimate relationship with God, we might not hear God, or it will not be clear to us. So intimacy is very important. The fourth is asking positions you to receive. God did not force the message. He waited for Samuel's consent. The lesson we learn is that we need humility. Simply asking God to speak will open doors of obedience. We have to ask God to help us, to speak to us, and we have to be willing to obey. God honors those who seek him intentionally. God is the rewarder of those who diligently seek him. You have to seek him. You have to, if you search him with all your heart. God is a king. You have to do it with all your heart. You have to really want it. You have to really desire it. 5, spiritual maturity requires teachability. Someone needed Eli to help him recognize the voice. Even if God is calling you, you still need spiritual guidance, asking questions, receiving mentorship, and being teachable. This will help us to hear God, because God speaks to different people in different ways. The way God may speak to me may not be the same way he speaks to you. God can even use YouTube to speak to me, a sermon on YouTube to speak to me. He can use a Bible verse to speak to me. He can use people to speak to me. So we have to know and recognize how God speaks to us. And sometimes people will have to guide us to be able to recognize when God is speaking to us. You can hear God clearly when you stop assuming and start seeking. Samuel repeatedly assumed Eli was calling him. So the lesson we learn is that many times God is speaking, but we misinterpret it. Clarity comes when we pause and ask, Lord, is this you? So our discernment will grow when we stop running and start listening. Like I said, God can even speak to me through YouTube. God can speak to me through Facebook. So when I'm open, I know that God speaks to me through different channels. So my ears are always open. And with time, our discernment will grow. God reveals more when you show readiness to obey. Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. Samuel saying this, it shows us that he was willing to obey God's instruction. Obedience is very important. Sometimes some of us may say that, oh, God is silent. The previous instruction that God gave us, maybe we did not obey, and yet we are still asking questions. God may be silent because we are walking in disobedience. So it is important that we show readiness to obey. God will give instructions to those who are already surrendered. He doesn't waste revelation on unwilling hearts. Precious pearls will not be thrown to swines. So if we want to hear God, we have to be willing to be obedient. God's voice will grow in environments of stillness. Someone was lying down, quiet, undistracted. The lesson we learn is that many of us miss God because life is too loud. We are busy with work. We are busy with everything. We'll rather talk to somebody than talk to God. So it is important that we create intentional moments of quiet. Revelation will require stillness. For some people, during their meditation, they hear from God. Maybe just walking in nature, they hear God more clearly. Or for some people, in different ways. But the long and short is that revelation often requires stillness. God trains our ear before he assigns our calling. Samuel's prophetic ministry began the moment he learned to respond to God's voice. Before God gives us influence, he trains our hearing. Before he gives us a platform, he gives us private instructions. So we always have to be willing to hear God, and because God is always willing to talk to us. He desires an intimate relationship with us. God values relationship over routine. So we can be busy doing church, busy, serving, giving, and doing all the things that are required of us. But it is important that we do it from a place of relationship with God. Samuel was faithfully performing temple routines, yet his first real encounter began only when he directed his attention to the Lord. Routine alone doesn't produce revelation. Relationship does. So it is important that we learn these things and do these things if we want to hear from God. Because a lot of things, we need discernment. We need God's guidance. Because onward and upward, we're definitely going. So if this has been a blessing to you, share this, comment. Let me know where to improve. Because we're going onward and we're going upward. And we're definitely going to develop an intimate relationship with God. And we're going to hear God clearly. So I'll see you next time. Bye.